What's up guys, Dustin Warnke back here with another bow hunting video on my backyard oasis. I've got some wild pork smoking on the grill over there, and the reason why I've got wild pork is because I've got some high quality, awesome products and brands that I use for bow hunting that really make a lot of sense for the archer. And you know, they're the brands that I use. They're not the brands that everybody has to use to be successful, but for me they work really well, and that is the following. You've got I've got an arrow, I've got a bolt, I've got a quiver, I've got all kinds of stuff here. I've got Grim Reaper broadheads for the broadhead here. This is an 1.5 inch cut radius, right there. Mechanical broadhead with a trocar tip, or also known as a razor tip. These are 125 grain, just reminding myself here, 125 grain mechanicals, 3-blade. Been incredibly accurate and incredibly effective on the animals that I use. They work kind of like a hollow point bullet. They expand on impact, and they have moving parts, and there's some cases where a lot of people are kind of like revolvers versus semi-automatics. You don't have any jams or anything like that, and although you've got Glocks and all these kind of fancy guns that are guaranteed not to, you know, be not to fail, you still have that failure issue question of if it has a moving part, can it fail, and does Murphy's law apply? I've not had a failure in these yet, because I rebuild them myself after I shoot them out of the package. Never had a failure, and I just know I know and trust this broadhead. Okay, so that's my thing there. I also have this Gold Tip Hunter Pro arrow. This is a 340. I'm going to show you the camera here. Hunter Pro 340, and that's just the weight that I use for my compound bow. I've got a field tip here because this is also the compound bow arrow that I use when I am 3D hunting, okay, or 3D target shooting, okay, and that's when I go to my 3D course or archery range or something like that. You always want to use a field tip for those kind of targets so you don't tear them up. And then here in the backyard I also use field tips, except for in that Reinhardt target I've got over yonder. That is a broadhead target where you can shoot something like a broadhead into, but most broadheads these days, whether you buy Grim Reaper or another brand, come with a practice tip, and that's very nice to have. Okay, so on the back of my broadhead here, or the back of my arrow, my bolt on my crossbow is crossbow bolt is some as a Luminoc, all right, and those are lighted arrow nocks. You can get them for compound bows or crossbows. I've always trusted Luminocs because they were the originator of the game. They were the first one that came out and did crossbows and compound bow lighted arrow nocks, all right, and I do that because I film most of my hunts. For crossbows and compound bows, you can see the arrow, the flight of the arrow as it goes into the animal, and as it goes in the animal you can actually see the pass through and find the arrow after the hunt. Very important to see what kind of shot placement you had, and also to see what kind of blood you have on the arrow and what kind of aftermath you're left with there when you go to tracking. So having a good lighted arrow nock is important. Luminoc is my brand of choice for that. So a lot of people say, well, you know, fixed blade, mechanical, it just depends on what you do with what you are trying to accomplish, okay? And I've got a bag of other broadheads that I'm getting ready to donate to an organization that are of other brands that I'm not going to show on camera because I'm a Grim Reaper man. But basically, that all being said, you have 3 different types these days of arrows, I'm sorry, of broadheads, okay? And so you've got the fixed blade, you got the mechanical, and then you have the hybrid. And the hybrid's kind of the best of both worlds. You have some things that are moving and some things that are fixed. You have a fixed blade, you have a mechanical, and you've got kind of 2 in 1. And it just depends, okay? So some people prefer for tougher animals like Cape buffalo, water buffalo, you know, things like that that have a large thick skin or just are really tough and rough and everything like that, to use a compound bow or a crossbow with a lot of kinetic energy, and to use that fixed blade, okay, 4-blade or a 3-blade fixed blade with a powerful bow, all right? The only question is, when you get back here to the target archery range, what kind of accuracy do you have, right? Okay, do you have accuracy that you really need to make the shot count, as well as the blades to do their job when they hit the target. They're kind of like a revolver, though. They're trusty, but you can have accuracy issues, and I've had accuracy issue with some brands. I will not mention any names of which ones, but I've had accuracy issues with one particular brand that was flying all over the place, and I ended up wounding a deer one time, and it was an awful experience because with that brand of broadhead, it did not work well at all for me, okay? Because accuracy is everything. Accuracy is important, as well as the choice of a fixed blade, mechanical blade, or hybrid broadhead. Then you have on the other end of the spectrum the mechanical blade. Okay, and you guys have seen me do a presentation on this before. These are great for turkey hunting especially, and lighter skinned game like deer and that kind of stuff. But a lot of people use them even on heavier skin things, because as long as you have enough kinetic energy to open those blades will open, they will close after they pass through and done their job. All right, so it almost looks like they didn't even open at all, but they've actually opened and done their job and closed on the back end, okay, after the shot takes place, after it passes through the target, the meat target, or whatever game animal you're going after. That's also another thing. That's what I choose. In turkey hunting, that's great because you got that pow when you got the impact, and it knocks the turkey down with a fixed blade broadhead. Sometimes they don't even know that they're hit until they've flown away somewhere off of the neighbor's land, and you can't get to them anymore. Okay, so that's why you really want to consider mechanical for anything like deer. I use them for hogs. Some people like to use fixed blade for hogs, and then you can also use them for for turkey hunting and that kind of stuff too, where you really need that punch and that expansion and everything on impact. So that's important. And then you have kind of the best of both worlds, which is the hybrid, which Grim Reaper makes, and they also make a rebuild kit that I just reordered for these. This is just a new package of them. But you've got two fixed blades and two mechanical blades, and those are kind of the best of both worlds. And I've done last year I did a Grim Reaper presentation on all the different types of broadheads that you can get, but I wanted to go over the application for using those different types of broadheads and what makes sense where. I use a mechanical darn near everywhere, but a fixed blade sometimes does make sense in some certain cases. So it just depends on what you're trying to do and what the application is for the broadhead. So that's definitely the consideration for that. But again, gold tip, Grim Reaper, Luminoc, and then on the bow side I use a Bowtech Diamond, Infinite Edge Pro compound bow. That's worked very well for me so far. Before then I had a Martin. They don't make any garbage bows in the American market anymore. I mean, they're all good. So if you shoot a Matthews, I have nothing against you. If you shoot a Bowtech, whatever, that's great. On a Crossbow, same deal. All right, Barnett's my bow choice, but you can choose an Excalibur. I've done some work with them. There's just a ton of different opportunities out there for you to engage with different bow companies. I would just stay off of the stuff that's kind of the cheaply made, really low cost stuff that's foreign made and not necessarily the best quality. So definitely be a consideration of that as you consider your considerations for archery and bow hunting. You want to hunt with the best you can afford in the regards of what will get the job done. So the one thing that Mac and Prowler and the TV show guys that I've worked with for years will say is use what you have, right? It's at some point. Don't go around using a crossbow pistol though, okay? Because that's probably not going to have the kinetic energy you need to make an effective kill unless it's for small game. But what you want to do is definitely use afford yourself a good $700 crossbow, or even, they have the new Excalibur Twin Strike out now that shoots has two triggers and two arrows, and that's a new thing for 2021, and I thought that was kind of cool, as far as being able to get two shots off in one sitting, and have a scope kind of, lined out for both of those and that kind of stuff. So, there's all kinds of cool innovations like that came out at ATA and SHOT Show this year with all the different things having to do with archery, and I'm just excited about this. I love archery, I love bow hunting, I love all that stuff that has to do with getting kids starting in it and getting engaged with getting new adults that are engaged to the archery sports and that kind of stuff. I just love that kind of stuff. So I'm rambling on here a little bit, but anyway, Grim Reaper, Gold Tip, Luminoc. Don't forget those names. They will do you well. They've done me well for well over 10 years of bow hunting. Well over that, actually, because I've been bow hunting since 2006. when I got my first bow, and I love it. So anyway, hope you guys have an awesome day in the outdoors. Thank you guys so much for watching, reading, and listening. You guys rock. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Take care.